Hello, Mackie here. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have now reached the end of the road to MSI. And I meant that figuratively and I meant that literally. First off, a little bit of off league news. A big shout out to the Florida Panthers who just won back to back Stanley Cup finals trophies. Beating the Edmonton Oilers 5-1. They won the series 4-2. I mean, if you want to talk about dominations, they led the series for almost 256 minutes, and Edmonton led by 33 minutes. It was absolute domination from virtually start to finish. And I'm not going to get to that too much, but to say that, and by the way, my country is living near Florida, by the way. My country is close to Florida as it is, you know, away. To see like Florida winning like four Stanley Cups in the last six seasons, I mean, unbelievable. Everybody was saying that, oh, hockey cannot work in a hot country. Well, they now won four Stanley Cups in the last six. And now Florida Panthers are back to back. So, what are they going to do? I think the logic has already been burned down and dead. But that's for the hockey side of me. And now we are at the point of the end of the road to MSI. This is officially now the last episode of the Road to MSI for this year. I don't know what I'm going to do with the MSI thing, but I'll tell you that after this whole thing is over. Now you can see here, this is the MSI logo that you're looking at right now. It's explosive, pretty cool. And of course, the theme for this MSI will be Ignite the Fire Within. With a little bit cool wave skin that is pretty much important. That's pretty much important because Wade's gonna get a little bit of a Spirit Blossom skin, and it's gonna be pretty pricey for some people. Pretty pricey. Now, here's the bad news. Normally, I would be talking about how MSI and all these formats and all kinds of stuff, but unfortunately, David, my boy David S, beat me to the punch by a couple of hours and a 15-minute video. So, talking about that will be acknowledged, Jim. And but I will talk about the MSI, the formats, the whole thing, and then I will rank them. Now, normally I will do that in a form of tier list, but since we have 10 teams, less thing to worry about. We're going to rank them based on their performance, their skill set, their narrative, and how they perform well in all those kind of stuff. So I'll do like a 1 to 10 rank list, and that will coming up soon. For now, we get a proper MSI theme with a proper MSI wallpaper, which I'm going to have to put up in my computer, of course, later on. But that's for another day. For now, Akeem, we have so much things to do to talk about it before we get to like the MSI. Lots of pieces to deal with, lots of puzzling to finish it up, lots of stuff. But before that, we have some news coming out of the league. Don't worry, we'll get to the League of Legends stuff and all the craziness later on. But some news that NAVI is now officially a LEC team. It has been confirmed just a couple of days, the 13th on a Friday, by the way. Horrible luck if you're a Rogue fan, but this thing has been coming for years. In fact, for so many months that it was supposed to be bought in by Team Falcons a couple of years ago, but they did not do that. Enigma Galaxy tried to do that, but they did not do that. And Navi from the Ukraine came here, swooped in, and decided to take Rogue spot immediately. I will have a few words about Rogue later on. But first, we have to talk about what's going to happen to Navi. Now, the good news is that Navi will come in as a new team. The team that was essentially Rogue is now officially Navi. So Larson, Adam, all the bad apples are in there. They're going to be joining the team. However, just confirm a couple of news sources from the Sheep as well. Han Sam-D is going to join Navi. So that's pretty much the first piece of a rebuilding puzzle or such into immediately trying to get success, which, let's be brutally honest, the team finished like bottom in the last two splits. I do not think that a new team and a new name is going to change all of that. It will have to take like a Carmen Corp second year to do that. And even then, you have to you look at the fan bases right now you have to face. You got to face the Karman Core fan base, the Koi fan base, G2 and Fnatic are still there. So they are pretty much punching their weight. And although this team has been doing well in Counter-Strike, and we all know how great they are in Counter-Strike, the League of Legends scene has not been kind to them. This is their first League of Legends appearance since 2017. And now you're going to go back 8 years since your last League of Legends to a region that is more competitive and more fan-based than ever before. So they are literally started at the bottom. And as much as I can say with confidence that I hope the management of NAVI can do well with this squad and build the squad for championship glory or close to it. But consider that the top four of the LEC is well established. I just don't see how they can crack it within the first year, let alone the second year. So it's not going to take like the next year in order to figure all these things out with new management, new staff, and everything else. Okay, that's pretty much the Navi side. Now for the Rogue side, it has been a slow crash and burn for Rogue. For those who don't know, I watched the 2022 LEC finals, in which they absolutely clapped the living hell of G2. It was 3-0. I remember that so clear. I was thinking Rogue cannot beat Fnatic, and they did. I was thinking there is no way that Rogue can beat G2, and yet Rogue did. Larson, Odawame, Malrang, Comp, and Trimby. Yep, those 5 guys. I remember those clearly. Were the winning team at that time. Unfortunately, the circumstances that are not even in their control happened. They didn't make it to the quarterfinals of the Worlds, and sadly, that was pretty much their only bright spot in this poor, sad story. I mean, they were the bottom place team in the first season, then rise back up with Larson and the boys, develop their team, climb back in the standings, make a couple of finals, beating some good teams, of course, came this close to winning their first LEC title back in 2021. Unfortunately, Armand, or Narma, as people said, ruined that plans. And then a couple of years of misfortunes, and then finally won the LEC title. But after that, it was the whole Koi situation of Rogue turning to Koi, the whole mess behind it with Ebi and all that kind of stuff. Then they got back the Rogue name, but by the time it happened, it was way too late. And unfortunately, Rogue is officially dead. They are officially dead. They've been the walking dead for the last couple of days or the last couple of months, especially with the lineup. They have to hastily put this lineup together because they didn't find any buyers, of course. So they've been the walking dead for like months on end. And now they have been officially buried pretty much by the organization and the team. And I'm sad because, of course, there's a lot of employees in Rogue who have been dedicating themselves to League of Legends so much. And some of them are going to still be here with Navi. Others are not going to be that much here. They're going to be leaving their jobs. And I feel sad for them. I feel sad for the employees. I wish them all the best. But it is it's tough. It's really, really tough for the Rogue organization to leave it like this. But let's be honest, they used to be like a fun team. They used to be like a fun team, but content is not being well. Fan base is not doing well. And the fact that, the new kings, the core and the Common Corps, are coming in and establishing themselves. So they're kind of like, they have not been doing well league-wise. They have not done well content-wise. They have not done well anyone-wise. And it was only a matter of time before the plug had been pulled. So, and unfortunately they did. So as much as I'm sad to see Rogue go, I am excited for Navi to trying to see if they can, I'm not saying salvage the season. Listen, the season is already lost for Rogue / Navi, now named Navi. But I'm just saying, what will the future of this hold? You still have Larson in there, but listen, Larson has to go, and Adam is pretty much had to go as well. I think if you're Navi with the new management, you're gonna have to think about next year with the new future, with the new team, new management, and everybody else. You have to start clean slate. Okay, you gotta wipe everything about it, everything Rogue related. The titles will still be kept in the Rogue name, but in terms of New team, new order, new everything. They got to have to wipe the slate clean. And that's going to be hard for them to do. And it will take a lot of time and a lot of patience from the fans. But trust me, it will all be worth it at the end. Look at what Carmen Corp has done. Look at what Koi has done. It can't happen to them. So I wish Navi all the best this summer. And a big 07s to Road. Okay, few news. As you can see, DND is now joining SK Gaming, so do Abedage. I think SK is right now into that. They're slowly becoming like another legendary team that is just losing their focus right now. And Abedage is fine, but I'm not sure if they can move the needle. So does DND. We'll find out, of course. The big news, of course, is Wei leaving BLG. Now, sadly, this has been coming for a long time. He is leaving the team. He is leaving the team, of course. You know, I already talked about like the whole Beidrong thing about Beidrong being the new face of the BLG, and it led BLG to the finals. Of course, we'll get to that finals later. But for Wei to leave, like, God, that has to suck. Now, so Pang was supposed to be the jungler this year, but Wei played in the summer finals and won championships. Jean was there, but Jean made the finals, and then Wei was reinstated, and then Beidrong is in the team, and then the coach got fired and all that stuff. So it was a horrible mess. It was an absolute horrible mess for BLG, and the fact they made the finals is amazing. The fact they made it to another international tournament is amazing unto itself. And now they're gonna stick with Beidrong, who is fine as a decent jungler, but as we saw in the LPL finals, he's not good. He is the helper on this team, but you know, can he do well in MSI? Can he prove himself wrong in his very first big international tournament? Maybe he's not his first big international tournament, but probably his very first international tournament with a team that has not that high expectations, but pretty much high expectations, of course. So it's been a really big mess for Darren. Now, Beidrong is a guy. He's now going to lead this team with Knight and Bin and On and Elk to trying to make it to another MSI semifinals or maybe win the whole thing. That's hard to do, but it can happen. Neon is officially retired from League of Legends completely. He has done LEC for 2 years. He's saying he used to play for them. He's fine, never that pretty good. Um, he has secured 4 to 7 MVPs and Misfits on their championship run, and he managed to call up in the LEC. He joined the LFL under the Misfits Premier panel, and then he joined Missa, of course, and they lost to BK Rogue, the TCL champions, who lost to Los Ratatones in the EMA Masters. And unfortunately for them, you know what? I think, yeah, he was a decent player. He was never that flashy, but for a long serving player like him, awesome is to him, he probably have to take up coaching or something, or maybe a content creator. Who knows? But yeah, those are the news on the sheep. Call it a flock of news Tuesday if we have to. But those are some of the pieces of news that is going on as we piece together. So a little bit of a detour, of course, to the continuation of the final road to MSI, which begins with the LPL. Now, Akeem, once again, raise your hands if you have anyone's legend winning the LPL. Now, prior to that, in fact, prior to this season, the Rogue Anyone's Legends teams have been pretty much mediocre to say the least. They're fine, but like they made the finals, and that's great and all, but some people will say Top Esports still going to win it. Some people will say BLG might win it. Maybe JDG could win it. At the end, of course, Anyone's Legend has become legends in their own right. And holy cow, they actually beat BLG straight up. 3-1, the final. Yep. And trust me, it was not even close. BLG were horrific. Let's just put that out there. They were horrific. Knight was. The only reason why they won that game was Knight backdooring, but even then, he was kind of horrific. And it was Legends just put BLG to the absolute sword in those two games. All three games. They were by far the better team and really well deserved of their MSI spot. Probably has the best LPL team in that region. And I doubted them. I pretty much doubted them. I doubted his team, of course. I mean, some people doubted their team, but as the season goes on, as the game's being played, anyone's legend to become better and better and better, and now to become champions, of course. And I did make a TikTok about Tarzan winning. Of course, this is his very first championship ever. He has played so many games with so many teams, but this is his first ever title he won ever. For a legendary jungler to go through so much and finally win one, it's a truly special feeling. It's a truly special feeling for a jungler who never get the credit he deserves, never get anything deserved, but now probably is now going down as an LPL champion, and probably, I say probably, going to be one of the favorites for MSI. Now, do I believe again? This is from a TikTok. Do I believe that anyone's legend can win MSI? I think so. They have some strengths, but also they have some weaknesses. Every team has that. Doesn't matter how good you are, everybody has their weaknesses. But I believe anyone's legend can do it. I think there are like a team that nobody talks about in the same way as your BLGs, your G2s, or even a T1 for God's sakes. More on T1 later. Oh my goodness. But I think anyone's legends can show up and just with, by the way, Coach Tabe in charge. The same Coach Tabe that led BLG to the MSI finals in 2023, the first double elimination edition of that. So with Coach Tabe on the helm, I think this anyone's legend can do so much damage to the MSI field. And with players like Flandre, who used to be a pretty good player back when EDG won it. Wait, let me just check if he won it with EDG. I think he won it with EDG. He won it with EDG. Yeah, he won it with EDG. Yep, he won it with EDG. So you got an Flandre, who was a world championship top laner, who had fell off, of course, completely in a couple of days. Or a couple of years, by the way. You got Tarzan, who finally got the monkey of his back, finally won it. Shanks, I think he's a pretty good mid laner. We will see what he can do in his first national tournament. Hope, we all know how good he was. I think everybody knows how good he was, Hope. And then Kyle, the support, he's also good as well. So these are the players that can actually go out there and win. Tarzan, please do not int for the love of God. And I think anyone's legend is going to do something in the tournament. Unfortunately, I mentioned about BLG. This whole situation in BLG was a mess. The coach firing, the jungle situation messed up, and the fact he actually made finals is a testament to how good the rest of the team are, despite the jungling change. And Beidwang has been the only bright spot in this team. Beidwang has been the reason why your team, but it's more like a team doing well. And Beidwang just added a little boost to this team that was so good, but it needed more. And yeah, they didn't get it done. And I have questions for BLG. It's like one of those. Oh, but BLG, Akeem, they used to be a finals contestant. They used to be MSI, runners up last year. And League of Legends is different. League of Legends is a different game year after year after year. That just because you do well in the first season does not mean you can do well in the second season. And unfortunately, BLG doesn't have that. They did not make it to the international tour. They didn't make it to first stand, and they did not. And now they're runners up in LPL and probably the 2 seed. They were playing the play-ins, of course. And now it's like, I'm still saying BLG can win, but it's a little touch and go. Consider the strength of some of our teams, including T1. Oh my goodness, Akeem, they've done it again. They have done it again. They have literally done it again. How are they doing this? How? How are they doing this? It's like every time the narrative was supposed to be shifted into one way. T1 just finds a way to shift the narrative the other. And right now, I can hear bottles being popped of champagne with Riot employees dousing themselves in champagne, just saying, "We got fake into another national event, glug, glug, glug." Those kind of things. I mean, God almighty, it's just. I mean, hey, listen, this is not their fault, man. It's not their fault they were in this, but it is what it is. But oh my goodness, Hana Life Esports. I mean, first of all, Gen G versus Hana Life Esports was a really good series. It was a really good series. Hana Life started off pretty well, and then of course I listened to the Degon and Degon and Wolf from the Monty and Wolf show, which I think they should change the name since Monty is no longer part of Last Free Nation. Shout out to them. He is part of the Last Free Nation, but not as fully, of course. I think they should change the name, of course. But Cannon stopped playing well. The whole team plays pretty well as well. And then Hana Life is slowly not doing well. I think that she gave the MVP to Chovy, which is fine. I think Chovy was decent, of course. And Hana Life Esports choked. Hana Life Esports choked so bad. That was their world spot. That was their. I'm sorry. That was their MSI spot right there. They were 2-0 up. That was their MSI spot there. And they slowly wilted. So I can't even get monthly thinking to yourself, okay, they choke horribly bad. All they just have to do is to just win the game against an okay T1 team who have been pretty much okay in the last couple of months, but have never. But I just feel like Gen G, Hana Life Esports, 1-2, going into MSI, that should be easy, and it did not happen. And I mean, I'm not upset about T1. They earned their right to win, but my God, Hana Life Esports dropped the ball. It was terrifying. It was horrific. Like, just look at the stats. I mean, I can go to the stats right now to talk about how horrific this was. Game one, 22-4, and a 31-minute stump. Brutal. Game two, 24-16. Okay, a lot closer, of course. Really a lot closer, but Duran was an absolute beast in that series. I mean, everybody was talking about, oh, T1 pick up Zeus, and everybody would feel like, HLE pick up Zeus, and now they're the better team than T1, and it feels like they won the trade. Yes, they actually won the trade, which I'll give them credit for. But we all know Duran is a big time player when it comes to the big moments. Ask T1 fans how they feel when they lost to Gen G years ago in the LCK finals. And once again, Duran was the absolute difference maker. I think Duran is the MVP of that series. And then it was 29-3, and it was like, oh my goodness gracious, how tilted. They absolutely look tilted. They look absolutely tilted. Yeah, Duran was MVP. Pretty much no surprise there. And T1 somehow, some way, just make it to another international finals. And of course, Riot will have to glaze over them for the next month or so. But hey, viewership is going to be up. That's great. It works out for Worlds. Just end me, man. These annoying fans. These annoying fans are going to join as well. Oh my goodness gracious. And for a little bit of context, I think the distance between Korea to Vancouver is not that far, considering the fact that Korea is kind of near. The flight time for this, it's about 9-hour flight or a 17-hour flight. It's kind of close to like 9-hour flights, of course. It's like 11. It's like almost a 12-hour flight. It's a 12-hour flight between Vancouver from Korea. It's Korea to Vancouver with 12 hours. So I can tell you, every T1 fan will just barge in at anyone's notice. And let's be honest, there's a lot of Korean contingency in Vancouver. I think Vancouver and Seattle has the largest like Korean population, of course, in the state in ever. So you know that some of the Koreans are supporting T1 or some of the Koreans supporting League of Legends. I'll tell you what, there'll be a lot of T1 fans in Vancouver whenever there's a match going on. I don't care what many of you people think. There could be a large fandom of T1 in Vancouver. And oh my God, Dom and everybody else is hating this right now, but it's not my fault. It's not their fault. And the weirdest part about it is not their fault. It's the whole fandom that makes everybody looks annoying. It's not Duran's fault or Faker or Gumi Yushi's fault that they're in this. No, it's the whole K-pop fandom that just put in the box and just like handle this with care. And if you break it, we're gonna come and unalive you. It's just, it drives me up to the wall, man. It drives me up to the wall. And just like half of me just want to see like, Faker being great, but also the half of me just want to see T1 lose to the satisfaction of the fans. And I'm not one of them, but I can just understand how they feel. It's the same thing I feel when like Manchester City are just dominating my team. It's just the same thing I feel. I like their kind of football, but I just don't like how they do all these kind of stuff and just trying to, buy out the fandom, of course. But this fandom is kind of like out of toxicity and K-popness, and I just have to move on, okay? I move on, Aki, move on before you say too much and pretty much get absolutely shanked. LTA North. And Riot, first of all, cool trophy. The LTA North trophy is cool. That's the only positive thing I'll say about the LTA North, other than like the referees dressing in the Spirit Blossom outfits. The other referee was an Ash. The other one was like Lilia. Freak. Oh, my ears are blessed with Freak's casting. The first time in like 3 years that I hear Freak casting. It was such a beautiful hearing to watch. Even though he's like more of a part-timer with the Riot employees talking about patch notes and everything like that. But to hear Freak casting is amazing to hear, and it's wonderful. And Captain Flowers it's no slouch chicken, but come on. Freak has been to the game longer than you have been. No respect to Captain Flowers. He's great and all, but yeah, that was something to behold. And then, of course, the game itself. And actually the series itself. It flippin' sucks that only one team from the LTA North gets to go to MSI. Because this, to me, and I will get to the awards later, was the series of the split. One of the series of the split. And it was everything you wanted in a series. Great back and forth series. Two great teams battling each other out. Some ins, some misplays, some great plays. The Quid 4-man ulti on Talia was incredible. And an incredible finish, typical of FlyQuest, again, to have Quad and Quid is kind of confusing. Quid and Whippo with the open Nexus while Cloud9 doing Elder Dragon, and they did not see it. Cloud9 was bamboozled because of that. And then FlyQuest kind of won. And it was such a cool way to end the thing. It was such an incredible series to watch. And the fact that only FlyQuest gets to go to MSI and not Cloud9 makes me feel mad. I feel mad. I feel mad for Vulcan and Sven, who, credit to Sven, did an incredible interview. Classy guy as always. In defeat, of course. But I'm mad. I am so mad that the LTA and Riot decided to screw over Cloud9 and also the other team from Brazil to not get to MSI. And by the way, the reason why we have 10 teams is because of this BS. I'm not mad at I'm not mad at FlyQuest. I'm not mad at Papa Smitty for winning another title. Shout out to him. I'm not mad. But it's the right BS sometimes. It's just the right BS. I just don't like it. But this series was an absolute, sometimes it's not pretty, sometimes it's not ugly, but it's such a beautiful series to watch. It was absolutely beautiful. Quad MVP was kind of right. I think Inspire should have won MVP, but I think Quad, from his incredible play, of course, in the last game that really turned the tide. And the biggest play of the game was Blabber doing the best impression of the Sven no QSS moment from like years ago, in which Cloud9 was doing so well. They stacked up Drake. All they just have to do is to not make the one bonehead decision that ruined the game. And my goodness, for Blabber to walk into the mid all alone and having Whipple ulti and everything like that, and for that to happen, it just hurts. And then of course, Cassante died as well. So it's like one big blunder and then another big blunder, and it was like the game snowballed from there. Now it was close, of course. It was really close, of course. And it came down to the back door. And it also came to, and it should have happened if it wasn't for the bug. Now there was a bug, Akeem, it didn't cost them the game, of course. It didn't have much implication to the game, but it nearly sent it. Half FlyQuest lost that series. It would send Twitter into an uproar. It would send the League of Legends community to an uproar. Now, anybody who doesn't know feats of strength, you have to win at least 2 feats of strengths out of 3 in order to get like upgraded boots and all that kind of stuff. You first have to get the first tower. You have to get multiple objectives, your dragons, your grubs, your rift heralds, all the kind of stuff, and Anacon, just in case. And also 3 kills in the first couple of minutes. There was an indication that FlyQuest got 3 kills, but they didn't show it. Now, Riot Rules, of course, said that the players should notify there's a bug. Not the referees, not higher ups, the players themselves. But then again, you're asking players to like stop the game in a crucial game 5 with MSI on the line and an LTA North title on the line. It's hard to do. So I cannot blame. So, I mean, it was one of those situations that maybe they should stop it, but, taking the focus on a player in a crucial game 5 situation, and that could have caused an uproar if they stopped the game itself, but they didn't, and we move on. And if FlyQuest would have lost, my God, an uproar would have happened. A major uproar would have happened. But it didn't. We move on. It was something incredibly weird, but it is what it is. So FlyQuest are now champions of the LTA North. And by the way, this lineup has been with the team for more than a year, 367 days at the time of recording. This is the longest ever tenure team in all of League. They have the same 5 players from when they make the miracle run or like almost upset of Gen G at Worlds last year. And they have been like, I'm not saying the most consistent team because they lost LTA North to Team Liquid, but they have been the most consistent team all split long, and they have been the rightful winners of going to MSI. And now with this established team, with Fearless being established, I want to see what this team can cook. I want to see them run back against Gen G in the bracket stage of MSI. I want to see this team against Gen G again and see if they can beat them, unlike they did it in Worlds. This is something to behold, of course. The fact that Masu, a guy who was born in Iran, get taken out of the country in a hostile war situation, and now for him to be an LTA champion and to go to Vancouver, his home country of Vancouver, to play an international tournament in front of his home fans, in front of his family, mind you. His family probably going to be in Toronto. His family going to be like probably in there. But even if family didn't make it, to be watched and to be singing praises by your family, it will be so incredible to see Masu coming in. Now, he hasn't had the best performance this split, but I would love to see him and Busio cook. Quad including, and Inspired, of course, who, by the way, is the MVP of the LTA split 2, to no surprise. He will be incredible. And so did Whipple. Maybe whether you like him or not, Whipple, it's been the guy, man. You may not like his antics sometimes, but he delivers, man. He delivers. And I will see him, he can do it again. And also, shout out to Nuke Duck, another title for him. Mitty, an assistant coach, another title for him. Hey, Nuke Duck, he's fine. Hey, can you guess what, Nuke Duck? You won more titles as a coach than you have won more titles as a coach as you were as a player. Marvelous job. And now we can see what he can cook at MSI. Commemorations for Cloud9. I think they have a pretty good season. Thanatos and Loki are brilliant. Blabber choked. I'm sorry, man, but that's on you. But I think I like Thanatos and Loki. I think it can build, of course, for next season or next split, of course, to see what it can do. And with the young guys in there, with the veterans, I think Cloud9 could be a threat. I think they and FlyQuest are a threat. Team Liquid, who just already released a video for he's gone. I'm not sure if they can do well. I'm not sure if 100Ds can do well. The Spotify are fine, but I think it's going to be FlyQuest and Cloud9. I think FlyQuest and Cloud9 could be two teams that could go to Worlds, but that's for the next couple of months. That's a long way to go. Finally to the LTA South, and in an upset, a massive upset, Furia are going to their first international event and their first EWC. Okay, okay. I lied. They already into the club program, of course, but for Furia, for the League of Legends team to make it to their first international event, and it's MSI, it's a huge, huge deal. It is a big deal for them and a big deal for this team. And you got Gunjo, Tattoo, Tosi, Ayo, and Jojo. Unknowns, pretty much unknown names. Don't watch the LTA South. Sorry to all my Brazilian fans. It hurts, but it is what it is. It's not your fault. Right, BS again. But there's one person I have to mention about it. And that is Thinkard, who's now the head coach of this team. Now, in case anybody who don't know Thinkard, he was coaching NRG. Do you know what happened to NRG? They were the team that surprisingly, of all teams, won LCS Summer in 2023. And then went to the quarterfinals by beating G2 in the Swiss stage of that year. Here's a little irony, of course, and a little spoiler, of course. They will face off against G2. Yep, Furia versus G2 in the MSI play-ins, and Thinkard will be coaching that team. Oh, this will be absolutely fun to see like the coach, with the pretty much newish roster, a newish team, facing them against the big bad boys of Europe. It will be absolutely fun. So we'll see what we can do. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, at around 37 minutes of recording time, that is the absolute end to the road to MSI. And I think some subscribers, we already reached 30 subscribers. Thank you so much for all of them. Having 30 subscribers, it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of consistency. I mean, for a guy who has not done much consistency and all kind of stuff, it's incredible to have 30 subscribers. I know it's not a big number to some people, but to me it is. For a guy who is born, who doesn't know much about League of Legends in a tactical side, it's just the narratives and the storylines that never gets mentioned by many people that I need to talk about. And it's so cool to learn. And thank you all for joining me on the road to MSI. It's a short series, mind you. It's a really short series, and pretty much that will be it until next year, of course. Godspeed. But thank you all for subscribing, for liking, for viewing, even though I got like single-digit viewing numbers. At least you're actually viewing the video, which is incredible for me. So thank you, and thank you all. And like, subscribe, comment, and all kind of stuff. Let's just try to hit 40 subscribers by the end of the year. Yeah, let's just try to do that. And now, Akeem, we have reached the destination of Vancouver. Actually, not the physical destination of Vancouver. I'm still in Jamaica. I just got my passport in the U.S., but we are in the figuratively road to MSI. We already reached the destination. The 10 teams are set. The teams are set. Look at the lineups. Genji, winners of Road to MSI. Koi, winners of LEC. Anyone's Legends, winner of LPL. CBC Flying Oyster, winner of LCP. FlyQuest, winner of LTA Split 2. And at T1, winner of the MSI lower bracket. And then you got the playing teams G2, BLG, GAM, and Furia. And those are the 10 teams that will represent their regions for the midseason invitation. Now, I will talk about all the midseason stuff in my next video, of course, which I will announce now will be MSI Madness. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. For this MSI tournament, it will be called the Mid-Season Invitational Madness. MSI Madness. I know, kind of cool name, is it? So, I will tell you about, since I got time, I will tell you about the MSI Madness. So, MSI Madness is, I don't know, maybe a little bit of a review of like a daily review. I will probably do like every single day. Well, not almost every single day, but I will probably talk about it, all the games and all the details of every single MSI matchup, which, here's a little spoiler for you, will be at night, prime time for the East Coast audience. Let's go, people! Night League of Legends matches. Sucks for the West, sucks for like the Korean and Asian nations, but who cares? We got we got night matches. It's cool. I love it. And then after all the matches, every morning or almost every morning, I will review that. But I will do my notes. Yes, Akeem. Remember the notes that I did for MSI, of course, a couple of years ago? Well, it's back. And hopefully I will use it to VAR review, do some little times, of course, with the stamps, giving you a little bit of details, of course, giving my thoughts about it. And the crazy thing about it is that all the games are best of 5. So it's gonna be so much notes, so much speaking, of course, for the next couple of minutes. But I'll try my best. And if I fail to do it, that's pretty much on me. Maybe and then of course maybe some shorts, of course. I'll talk about it on TikTok and all kind of stuff. And then recapping and all kind of stuff. So that's gonna be what's going to be all of this for MSI Madness. And that is going to be, you know, all the happenings in the next couple of weeks. We are officially 10 days at the time of recording till MSI. We have finally reached the road to it. The road has ended, and now we are into MSI. And it's time for us to ignite the fire within. It's time for us to harness that fire, to channel that energy, and bring it out in a chaotic, crazy way on road to victory. We are at MSI, ladies and gentlemen. We are at the big destination, and now it is time to see where it all turns out. I will talk more about MSI in the details, but here's a little teaser of what's going to go on. In fact, the playing stage will be the little teaser of what's going on. As you all know, the Mickey Mouse tournament, the first stand determined the rankings of the teams in terms of seeding and all kinds of stuff. G2 will take on Furia. That'll be the very first game of the day, the 27th of June. And then GAM will take on BLG, will be the night game. One game will be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the other game will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, okay, that's pretty good for me. Of course, there'll be later matches during the the rest of the playing stage, and then after that it'll be prime time all the way. So that was a little teaser, but this is the first 2 matches of the mid-season invitation. I will tell you about it, about formats, and how will all these things sort out in my first video of the MSI Madness thing, which will come out in a couple of days. So, ladies and gentlemen, it has been fun driving all of you through the craziness and the madness and the narrative of the mid-season invitational. It has been an education with you, and please do not forget to pay the bus fare. And tell me, talk to you and all of that stuff. It'll take me a lot of bus fare, but thank you for making me drive up and down the road all the way to Vancouver. And ladies and gentlemen, you have now reached your destination. You have now reached Vancouver for the mid-season invitation. On behalf of myself and everybody else, it's a good night to all of you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.